Namaskaram. Thank you. Tiruchitrambalam. So today we are going to spend about maybe about 30 minutes or so talking about Thevaram and how they were compiled and how they have been organized, and talk about what kaṭṭaḻais are and go through some examples of that. That's what we will cover in this segment. So with that, let me share a slide deck that we can follow along as we go through. Give me 1 second, I will share that. Can you confirm that you are able to see that?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good. So, as many of you know, we have a lot of Thevaram songs available to us still. Even though there were many, many more that were lost, but even the collection that we have is huge. So we have about 8,000 plus songs in Thevaram itself. And as many of you know, the Thevaram songs were pretty much lost by the time Rajaraja Chola's time were there. And then with the help of a great saint, Nambiyandar Nambi, who was from the place called yēṟiyōr, with his help, and he was a great Ganesha devotee. So with Nambiyandar Nambi praying to Vinayaka, and with Vinayaka's guidance, he was able to identify that the Thevaram palm leaf manuscripts were available in a room in Chidambaram temple. So they went and got that room opened and found that there were a lot of palm leaf manuscripts, but they were all covered in termite mounds. So they cleared it, removed the termites, cleared it with oil, and then collected whatever was still remaining. And Nambiyandar Nambi went through all of this, and he compiled all of them into a collection. And then he knew that these are all sung to music, but that what ragams they were sung in, that was not available. So he went to Erukattambaliyur, which is near Sri Mushnam. He went and prayed to the Shiva there, and with his guidance, he was able to identify a lady who hails from the Tirunelaganda Yāழ்pāṇar's heritage. As some of you may know, Tirunelaganda Yāழ்pāṇar was a great musician who used to play the yāṟ instrument. Yāṟ is like our today's veena. And he used to accompany Thiruñāna Sambandar when he went around various temples and sang padigams. So the musician heritage is, the musicians are called Yāழ்pāṇar. Pāṇar is musicians. And from that heritage, they found a lady musician. And with Shiva's grace, she was able to go through these padigams and identify, based on the content of the padigam, the mood conveyed in the padigam, the meter of the padigam, and also with Shiva's grace, she was able to identify a pun for each of these padigams. So out of we have about 780 odd padigams. So for each padigam, that lady identified that this padigam belongs in this pun, this padigam belongs in this pun. Pun is a Tamil word for ragam. The ragam is a Sanskrit word which came later, but the traditional word for that corresponding concept is called a pun in Tamil. So when she identified all the puns for these padigams, Nambiyandar Nambi started collecting all these things, grouping them according to the pun. So now we have two sets of things. So first he said that all the padigams of Sambandar will be put in the first collection. Tirunāvukarasar will go next, Sundara will go third. And then within each saint, he looked at the chronological order. What was the very first padigam they sang? What was the very last padigam they sang? So he put the first padigam in the beginning and last padigam in the end, and everything else in between. And then he grouped them by pun. So if there are, in some, we'll see it later, but in some other, let's say there are 22 puns he has used for these padigams. So he took all the padigams belonging to pun 1 in the first set, pun 2 in the next set, etc. And within that, he grouped them to a large extent by the meter. And so with this approach, he compiled all the Thevaram padigams into 7 volumes. So some other padigams went into volume 1, 2, and 3, with very first padigam being the first padigam in volume 1 and the last padigam being the last padigam in volume 3. But in between, there is no chronological order. Only the first and last are covered. Similarly, Tirunavukarasar padigams into 3 volumes, Sundara padigam into 1 volume. And all this information, how the Tirumurais were found, how they were set to music, etc., are documented in a work called Tirumurai Kanda Puranam. This is usually attributed to Acharya called Umapati Shivam, but that is subject to debate, whether he wrote it or not. But that doesn't matter. The Tirumurai Kanda Puranam documents how they were found and how they were compiled to music, set to music and how they were compiled. So I'll just show you some example. So I'm not going to go and discuss all these verses, but if you look at the highlighted line, Nallisai Yāழ்ப்பாணனார் நன்மரபில் வந்த வள்ளி ஒருத்திக்கு இசைகள் வாய்ப்பு அளித்தோம் என்று சொல்ல. This is the Ashariri that he heard from Shiva. அவள் தன்னை அழைத்து சுருதி வழி பண் தழுவும் நல்லிசையின் வழிகேட்டு நம்பி இறை உள் மகிழ்ந்தார். Then he brought her to the Shiva Nataraja Sannidhi, and with that she was able to give what was the pun for each padigam. And then now we go to the next topic called kaṭṭaḻai. So kaṭṭaḻai is a subgrouping within a pun. So if you have got, let's say, 20 padigams that are identified as sung in this padigam, in this pun, then if you look at the padigams, they may be in different poetry meters. And we will see some examples later. And sometimes they will be in different rhythms. So based on these parameters, they group the padigams into subgroups. So each subgroup, which are similar in poetry meter or similar in rhythm or similar in the mode in which they are sung, that is called the kaṭṭaḻai. So because of this, you can say that, padigams in different meters can be grouped into same kaṭṭaḻai. And the kaṭṭaḻais within a pun are assigned as a running sequence number. That is just for reference. So for example, naṭṭapāḍai is a pun, and within naṭṭapāḍai there will be 8 or 9 kaṭṭaḻais. So they will be referred as kaṭṭaḻai 1, kaṭṭaḻai 2, kaṭṭaḻai 3. The numbers don't mean anything other than just an identifier. And the other thing is that the same pun can come in Sambandha Thevaram, can come in Tirunavukarasar Thevaram, can come in Sundara Thevaram. The kaṭṭaḻai is within one saint's songs. So Sambandha Thevaram, within that they will have, within each pun they will have kaṭṭaḻai. Similarly, within Sundara Thevaram, within each pun they will have kaṭṭaḻai. So the kaṭṭaḻai 1 of Puranirmai in Sambandha Thevaram and kaṭṭaḻai 1 of Puranirmai pun in Sundara Thevaram may or may not be similar. That is just kaṭṭaḻai is just a number to identify. So some additional notes, which is that, there are padigams in multiple meters. So often when we sing the songs, we don't think about the meter of the song. We don't think about those kind of aspects. We just learn the song, we sing the song, how to sing, etc. But if you look at read the verse, you will understand that they are in different meters. And because there are multiple meters are there for multiple padigams, and multiple meters can be sung in the same pun, that's why you have multiple kaṭṭaḻais. So kaṭṭaḻai is identifying, which meter it is, or which the 2 or 3 meters together in one kaṭṭaḻai. So if you look at some examples, right? So we have padigams in the same meter, but they are put into different puns because of the mood that the song is talking about, or the time of the day in which the padigam was sung, etc. So for example, 2.40, which is Sambandha Thevaram, 3.63, which is also Sambandha Thevaram, 4.12, which is Upper Thevaram. All three are in the same meter, but they are in different puns. So that just show you an example. And the last bullet on this slide, very occasionally, one padigam may be classified into 2 kaṭṭaḻais. So for example, tōḍuḍaiya seviyan, the first padigam of Sambandhar, they classify some songs as belonging to a different kaṭṭaḻai. So the same padigam, but some songs in one kaṭṭaḻai, some songs in another kaṭṭaḻai, even though they are all in the same meter. That's one example. And another example is that padigam 1.19. I'm not going to talk about that here, but one padigam, but because of the way the words are structured in the padigam, the words can be sung in a different manner. So that same padigam is classified as belonging to kaṭṭaḻai A as well as kaṭṭaḻai B. So again, all these are briefly mentioned in the Tirumurai Kanda Puranam. For example, in Sambandhar Thevaram, they say, naṭṭapāḍaikku thogai 8 kaṭṭalayam. So all the padigams belonging to naṭṭapāḍai pan, they group them into 8 categories, 8 kaṭṭaḻai. Like that, they have got other things. So if you look at what we have, in Sambandhar Thevaram, we have 22 pans. There are many pans which are listed here in Tamil. naṭṭapāḍai, takkaragam, parandakkaragam, takkesi, kurinji, virāra kurinji. All these things, based on how Oduvars are singing today, and based on some of the research that they have done, they have identified that naṭṭapāḍai equal to this ragam in Carnatic music. Megaraga kurinji equal to this ragam in Carnatic music. So we have that. So if you look at Sambandhar Thevaram, we have 3 Tirumurais covering 22 pans. If you look at Tirunavukkarasar Thevaram, he has got both Tirumurai 4 has number of padigams which are identified with the specific pans, but then it also has different poetry meters which are no pan is specified for them in the books. So Tirunerisai, Tiruviruttam, Tirukurundogai, Tiruthandagam, these are all poetry meters. No pan is specified, even though traditionally they tend to sing in specific ragams. Tirumurai 5, Tirukurundogai, there is no specific pan that they sing in. Often they will pick up any ragam that is appropriate for devotional content. They will take that and sing it in that ragam. So Tirumurai 5 has a lot of flexibility to the singers to sing in any kind of ragam they want. So one other note, just as an exception, there is a padigam called the yāṟmuri. In the first Tirumurai, padigam 136 is yāṟmuri padigam. It is not a pan name. Pan, it is grouped next to the Megaraga Kurinji padigams. So historically, they were singing it in Nīlambari ragam, which is the corresponding one for Megaraga Kurinji. But in modern days, Oduvars are singing it in Attana ragam. Just information for you. And Malay Matru is a palindromic padigam, which is very, very unique, and the first Malay palindromic padigam in Tamil. And this palindromic padigam, it is sung in Kausigam pan, which is Bhairavi ragam. But it is grouped along with other Chitrakavis in the book. Instead of grouping with the other Kausigam pan padigams, it is grouped with the Chitrakavi padigams. So with that, we will go look at some songs and understand what kaṭṭaḻai is, what the meter is, etc. And then we'll, for each, after I go through each pan's example, Vasanthi will be able to sing them and show you the feel. So the first one is we are going to look at naṭṭapāḍai. In naṭṭapāḍai, we are going to look at 3 kaṭṭaḻais to understand the basic concept of kaṭṭaḻai. So tōḍuḍaiya seviyan, you can look at it as the tānadanā, tananādana, tānana, tānā, tanadānā. So tōḍuḍaiya seviyanviḍai, yēṟiyōr, tūveṇ, madisūḍik, kāḍuḍaiya, suḍalaippoḍi, pūsiyen, uḻḻam, kavarkaḻvan, ēḍuḍaiya, malarānmunai, nāṭpaṇin, dētta, aruḻseyda, pīḍuḍaiya, piramāpuram, mēviya, ivanana. So the words will typically follow that structure. And when the Oduvars sing, they will tend to sing so that the words are not broken randomly, so that we can hear it when you listen to the Oduvars. So this is naṭṭapāḍai pan, but this meter rhythm is that tānadanā, tananādana, tānana, tānā, tanadānā. The same naṭṭapāḍai pan, padigam number 10, is a different meter. Tānādana, 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 tanana. So unnāmulai umayālodum udanagiya oruvan, பெண்ணாகிய பெருமான்மலை திருமாமணி திகழ மண்ணார்ந்தன அருவித்திரள் மழலை முழவதிரும் அண்ணாமலை தொழுவார் வினை வழுவா வண்ணம் அருமே. So the same ragam, but different rhythm, different meter. So it is considered a different kaṭṭaḻai. Now there's a very interesting thing, which is the padigam 13. It is also in the same meter as padigam 10. The same thing. Tānadanā, 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 tanana. You can look at it like that. Kuravang kamil, narumen kudal, arivai aval veruve, பொருவங்கரி படவென்றதன் உரிவை உடல் அணிவோன். You can look at it like that rhythm, but the words in this padikam lend themselves to a different rhythm. குரவம் கமணருமென் குழல் அறிவை அவள் வெறுவ பொருவெங் கரி படவென் ரதன் உரிவை உடல் அணிவோன் அறவும் அலைபுனலும் இளமதியும் நகுதலையும் விரவும் சடையடிகட் கிடம் விரி நீர் வியலூரே. So the words lend themselves to a different breaking. That is the difference. For example, in the previous padikam we cannot sing like that. Unna mulayumayal odumudana giya oruvan doesn't sound the same thing. If you know Tamil, you know that it doesn't sound right. Penna giya peruman, we cannot sing that way, whereas this padikam we can sing that way. So this 1.13 can be sung both ways, whereas 1.10 can be sung in only one way. So that's why they put the 1.13 as a different kaṭṭaḻai. So I just wanted to give you this highlight so that you have a feel what they are. Now we will go listen to a couple of songs from this naṭṭapāḍai. Then I will take you through a couple of other puns and some kaṭṭaḻais. Vasanthi?
Yeah. So in this song, basically you can put it in Tisranadai Adithalam just as a reference for people who know a little more about Carnatic music. Tānadānā, tananādana, tānā, tānadānā. தோடுடைய செவியன்விḍai yēṟiyōr tūveṇ madisūḍik. தோடுடைய செவியன்விḍai yēṟiyōr tūveṇ madisūḍik. காடுடைய சுடலைப்பொடி pūsiyen uḻளம் kavarkaḻvan. காடுடைய சுடலைப்பொடி pūsiyen uḻளம் kavarkaḻvan. ēḍuḍaiya malarānmunai nāṭpaṇin dētta aruḻseyda. ēḍuḍaiya malarānmunai nāṭpaṇin dētta aruḻseyda. pīḍuḍaiya piramāpuram mēviya பெம்மான் இவனன்றே. pīḍuḍaiya piramāpuram mēviya பெம்மான் இவனன்றே. The next kaṭṭaḻai 5. tānadanā, 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 tananā. உண்ணாமுலை உமையாளோடும் உடனாகிய ஒருவன். உண்ணாமுலை உமையாளோடும் உடனாகிய ஒருவன். பெண்ணாகிய பெருமான் மலை திருமாமணி திகழ. பெண்ணாகிய பெருமான் மலை திருமாமணி திகழ. மண்ணார்ந்தன அருவித்திரள் மழலை முழவதிரும். மண்ணார்ந்தன அருவித்திரள் மழலை முழவதிரும். அண்ணாமலை தொழுவார் வினை வழுவா வண்ணம் அருமே. அண்ணாமலை தொழுவார் வினை வழுவா வண்ணம் அருமே.
So the next pun and kaṭṭaḻais that we are going to look at for example, are Megaraga Kurunji. So in some other Thevaram, we have several padigams. So we are going to look at two kaṭṭaḻais. The first kaṭṭaḻai we are going to look at is in the meter like tānadanā, tanadānā, 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 tananādana. புலனைந்தும் பொறிகலங்கி நெறிமயங்கி அறிவழிந்த டைமேல் உந்தி அலமந்த போதாக அஞ்சேலென்ற அருள் செய்வான் அமரும் கோயில் பலம் வந்த மடவார்கள் நடமாட முழவதிர மழையென்றஞ்சி சிலமந்தி அலமந்து மரமேறி முகில் பார்க்கும் திருவையாரே. This is the first one. The second kaṭṭaḻai that we are going to look at is in a much different rhythm. tānadanā, tānana, tānadanā, tānana. நீரு சேர்வதோர் மேனியர் நேரிழை கூறு சேர்வதோர் கோலமாய் பாறு சேர்தலை கையர் பராய்த்துறை ஆறு சேர் சடை அண்ணலே. So the same ragam but two different meters, two different rhythms. So we can hear and feel the difference. Vasanthi? Okay. So I think she's saying probably a connectivity issue. So we'll wait till she comes. In the meantime, I will go to the next pun and talk about some other kaṭṭaḻais while we wait for her to come back.
Okay.
So we are going to look at the next pun we are going to look at, and the kaṭṭaḻais we are going to look at are in Sadari. So in some other Thevaram, again, there are several padigams in Sadari pun, and there are wonderful rhythmic songs in that. So the padigam 3.67 is a very, very rhythmic padigam. The rhythm is that tānadanā, tanadānā, 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 tanana. So that is one. And the tanadānā can also come as tānadanā, 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 tānadanā. Same rhythm. In the padigam, the wonderful thing that he has done, Sambandar has done in this padigam, is that there are 12 songs. And the Sirgari has 12 names. So Sambandar has taken each name of Sirgari and sung one song on that in this padigam. And for each name, there is a Sthala which describes the story of that Sthalam, that name. And he has described that name, the Sthala story for that name within that song. So if you look at this first one, Surarulagu, Narargal Payil, Taranidalam, Moranariya, Arana Madil Mup, Purameriya, Viravavai, Saravisigol, Karamotaya, Paramanidamam, Varamarula, Varanmurain, Niraregol, Varusuradi, Sira Urayinal, Piramanuyar, Aranilgol, Saranavanai, Paravalar, Piramāpurame. So the whole thing is Tanadānā, Tanadānā, Tanadānā. So without any long syllables in the middle, without any stops, it will go fast. We are going to also look at the same kaṭṭaḻai, same padigam. We are going to also look at another song which has a different rhyming. Anganmadi Gangai Nadi Venganara Vangal Edil Tangu Midari Tungamalar Tangu Sadai Angi Nagarengalere Tangu Midamam Vengadir Vilangulagam Engumidir Pungari Pulangal Kalaivor Venguru Vilangiyumai Pangar Saranangal Pani Venguruvade. So the Venguru is the name of Sirgari, and in this song he is describing the Sthala why it is called Venguru. So these two songs are in the same kaṭṭaḻai, same padigam, same kaṭṭaḻai, different rhyming. And then we are also going to see another padigam in the same pun but a different rhythm. Tānana, 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 tānā. Vinnavar தொழுதெழு வெங்குரு மேவிய சுண்ணவன் பொடியணி வீரே சுண்ணவன் பொடியணி வீரும தொழுகழல் எண்ண வல்லாரிடர் இலரே. So both are in the same ragam but different rhythm. We will see that when Vasanthi comes back. Vasanthi, are you back?
Yes, I am. Sorry about the Wi-Fi problem.
Okay, so we were looking at Megaraga Kurunji. Yeah. So we can go with that.
Okay. Pulanaidu pori kalangi neri mayangi ari varindittai me undi. Pulanaidu pori kalangi neri mayangi ari varindittai me undi. Alamanda podaga அஞ்சேலென்ற அருள் செய்வான் அமரும் கோயில் அலமந்த போதாக அஞ்சேலென்றருள் செய்வான் அமரும் கோயில் வலம் வந்த மாடுவார்கள் நடமாட முழவதிர மழையென்றஞ்சி வலம் வந்த மாடுவார்கள் நடமாட முழவதிர மழையென்றஞ்சி சிலமந்தி அலமந்து மரமேறி முகில் பார்க்கும் திருவையாரே. சிலமந்தி அலமந்து மரமேறி முகில் பார்க்கும் திருவையாரே. So that was basically Kandachapu. நீரு சேவதோர் மேனியர் நேரிழை கூறு சேர்வதோர் கோலமாய். நீரு சேர்வதோர் மேனியர் நேரிழை கூறு சேர்வதோர் கோலமாய். பாரு சேர்த்தலை கைய பராய் துறை ஆறு சேர்சடை அண்ணலே. நீரு சேர்வதோ மேனியர் நேரிழை கூறு சேர்வதோ கோலமாய். பாரு சேர்தலை கையற்பராய் துறை ஆறு சேர்சடை அண்ணலே. செல்வம் மல்கிய செல்வர் பராய்த்துறை செல்வர் மேச்சிதை யாதன செல்வன் ஞான சம்பந்தன செந்தம் செல்வமாம் இவை செப்பவே.
So just a time check, because I think we are running a little over time than what we had planned. So we will cover these Sadaripan songs and we will conclude our segment with that. I had got 2 other puns and 2 other kaṭṭaḻais. We'll skip them, and if you want, we can look at it at a different time. Go ahead, Vasanthi.
So Sadari kaṭṭaḻai one. Tānadanā 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 tanana tānadanā tanana tanana. சுரருலகு நரர்கள் பயில் தரணிதலம் முரணழிய அரணமதில் புறமெறிய விரவு வகை சரவிசை கொள்கரமுடைய பரமனிடமாம். சுரருலகு நரர்கள் பயில் தரணிதலம் முரணழிய அரணமதில் புறமெறிய விரவு வகை சரவிசை கொள்கரமுடைய பரமனிடமாம். வரமருள வரன்முறையின் நிறை நிறை கொள் வர சுரதி திறவுரையினால் பிரமனுயர் அரணில் கொள் சரண வினை பரவ விழ பிரமபுரமே. வரமருள வரன்முறையின் நிறை நிறை கொள் வர சுருதி சிறவுரையினால் பிரமனுயர் அரணில் கொள் சரண வினை பரவ விழ பிரமபுரமே. பிரமபுரமே பிரமபுரமே. There is one more song, the 4th song in this padigam. அங்கண்மதி கங்கை நதி வெங்கணர வங்கணெழுத்து தங்குமிதழி துங்கமலர் தங்கு சடை அங்கி நிகர் எங்களிரை தங்குமிடமாம். அங்கண்மதி கங்கை நதி வெங்கணர வங்களெழு தங்குமிதழி துங்கமலர் தங்கு சடை அங்கி நிகர் எங்களிரை தங்குமிடமாம். வெங்கதிர் விளங்குலகம் எங்குமெதிர் பொங்கெரி புலன்கள் களைவோர் வெங்குரு விளங்கியுமை பங்கர் சரணங்க பணி வெங்குருவதே. வெங்கதிர் விளங்குலகம் எங்குமெதிர் பொங்கெரி புலன்கள் களைவோர் வெங்குரு விளங்கியுமை பங்க சரணங்கள் பணி வெங்குருவதே. கட்டளை 5. விண்ணவர் தொழுதெழு வெங்குரு மேவிய சுண்ணவெண் பொடியணி வீரே. விண்ணவர் தொழுதெழு வெங்குரு மேவிய சுண்ணவெண் பொடியணி வீரே. சுண்ணவெண் பொடியணி வீருமதொழகழல் எண்ணவல்லாரிடரிலரே. சுண்ணவெண் பொடியணி வீருமதொழுகழல் எண்ணவல்லாரிடரிலரே. எண்ணவல்லார் இடரிலரே. விரை மல்கு பொழிலணி வெங்குரு மேவிய அரை மல்கு புலியதளீரே. விரை மல்கு பொழிலணி வெங்குரு மேவிய அரை மல்கு புலியதளீரே. அரை மல்கு புலியதளீருமதடியினை உரை மல்கு புகழவர் உயர்வே. அரை மல்கு புலியதளீருமதடியினை உரை மல்கு புகழவர் உயர்வே.
So with that, given the interest of time, we will conclude at this point our discussion on pan and kaṭṭaḻai. I had to, as I said, I had some more slides, but we can cover them at a different point in time. Tiruchitrambalam.